One of the most difficult, upside down, backwards ideas in our Bible is the idea of grace. Everyone say grace. Grace simply means the unmerited favor of God. The unmerited favor of God in the Bible is something that is a gift and cannot be earned. And that is the reason that we so struggle with the idea of grace. And so let's look at grace. Let's discover what Jesus has to say about this in our lives and how we can live from not a place of being unfair or frustrated, because that's not what God's grace is meant to do. It's meant to draw us to a place of freedom and gratitude. And so as we do every study season, would you stand with me as we read the parable of the vineyard owner? You see, the workers, they only saw unfairness, but the parable of the vineyard owner calls us to see God's faithfulness. For God does exactly as He promises. You see, grace says that in your life today, God has given you everything that you need. This parable is a big fat sign saying, no, your standing in the kingdom of God is not dependent on human merit, what you did, or who you are in any way whatsoever. It's an upside down kingdom because it's not give and get, it's receive and give. Get this, God's favor and blessing in your life comes according to His will and pleasure, not what you deserve. Put it another way, grace is according to who He is, not who we are. Look at this. The request of the disciples and their mother for top places in the kingdom of God revealed their blindness. And yet the request of the blind man revealed their vision. You see, here's a big lesson. It wasn't the amount of theological correctness of their faith. It wasn't according to the effort that they had put in, the position that they held, or how much of the Bible that they knew, but rather it mattered where their faith was placed. Weak and confused faith, if placed in Jesus, can bring you in healing contact with His grace. It's unfair in the eyes of humanity that only sees through the lens of greed, but it's beautiful in the eyes of the broken who are open to His grace. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. But I wonder what it would look like not to put aside the desires of our heart, not to keep working hard, but to rest knowing that God has given you everything you need, and He promises to do just as He says. As we trust in Him, as we are content with Him, we experience the fullness of His peace, love, and purpose. Are you reading your expectations, your worldly understanding of merit and reward back into the book? Or are you letting the book read you? And this might seem upside down, but what if we were to celebrate the blessings of other people's lives and come alongside them and cheer them on and encourage them and go, wow, God has blessed you in an incredible way. After all, we're all part of the same family, and watch as your heart shifts and you begin to open your eyes to how God has blessed you. And I need to remind you that you are valuable in the kingdom, that you are valuable to our God, that He wants to use you in His kingdom. But it all depends on the sheer unmerited favor of the only one who is ultimately good, who chooses to accept those who could never be good in order that this gift of grace might produce in us genuinely good works.